Well, looks like I'm gonna piss some people off today. Not joking, I honestly think this might lose me some subscribers, or what little I have. Hello everyone, MAOs98 here with a brand new video, and today's topic is authority. Why this topic in general? Well, because there are two camps that I find that misunderstand this concept. The anarchists, to which I see believe the state should be destroyed in one full stroke, thinking that through various theories we will, achieve liberation, and the tankies, by which I mean MLs and Hojis, that tend to believe in a strong centralized state and tend to rely too much on the vanguard. Now, before I go on, I know some of you are already annoyed or mad about my description, but I'm going to go off from what I've seen. So, where does this confusion come from? I would guess from Engels' piece on authority. I will review today. Now, this is a short piece, and I won't read it to you, but go over each concept. So, here's how this video will be broken down. Part 1 will just be about the piece itself. Part 2 will be about how anarchists need to see the importance of the idea of authority. And part 3 will be about how tankies misunderstand this and need to stop with this fetishization of a centralized state. Okay, so the piece itself is a very short read and quick to the point. His basic point from the beginning is his critique of the libertarians, which, by the way, back then libertarians actually meant left, not these dumbass right-wing libertarians. Moving on, he states that, quote, authority in the sense in which the word is used here means the imposition of the will of another upon ours. On the other hand, authority presupposes subordinate, end quote. Now, he moves on how these words sound bad, but goes on the necessity given the material conditions. Now, he does make this argument back in the 19th century, but it's still important to this day. That with these conditions at hand, factories, companies, and other industries needs to have an organization in order to function. Frederick then poses the question that even after the capitalists are dealt with, who will now run the society and the workplace? He argues that even after the revolution, the authority of the workers will take place in order to function, and the autonomy of a person will be subordinated to the authority of the revolution. It's a logical conclusion to the revolution to have some form of authority for a time being. The last half of his writing acknowledges how the anti-authoritarians are heavily against the political authority and state. Engels argues that all socialists are agreed that both the state and a political authority will disappear as a result of the social revolution, as the increasing public will be transferred to the simple administrative functions. Now, he did leave some shit out that wouldn't be answered until Lenin wrote his piece on state and revolution, which I highly recommend you read. So, anarchists, comrades, I have to critique you. I have nothing against you. I don't hate you, but it's because I care, Comrades have to critique comrades. That's how the left works. Now, what is the importance of authority? Now, I'm fully aware that anarchists are not for total chaos as depicted in television. As we all know, that's just stereotypical bullshit. As my Zapatista comrade told me, anarchists don't mind authority in the sense of decentralized authority of the communes. So it's not authority that you dislike, but the state with authority. I understand the state is an oppressive force. We as MLMs recognize this. However, you might ask, how do we justify the state that oppresses people? Here's our justification. When it comes to squashing out the bourgeois, you cannot just outright abolish the state or go into full commune mode. Just because you have this doesn't mean you have communism or even socialism. Lenin taught us in State and Revolution that the state is needed in order to purge out the bourgeois elements. And Mao later furthered this process with the Cultural Revolution to squash the decadent capitalist culture that has alienated us, along with reactionary thought that holds us back. Now, unlike Mao, we won't wait 15 fucking years later to enact it because we learned from past experiments. Now you might ask, how do we avoid the capitalist restoration of these systems? And our answer would be through a series of cultural revolutions and constant purges of the party. Now this might sound scary, but you must understand that the elements of capital still resides even in the members of the party. That was the main issue with the all-Soviet Communist Party and the Communist Party of China. The anarchist communes are supposed to work, you would have no choice but to do the same. The elements must be purged and the Cultural Revolution must happen. This is our justification for a state and authority. Now, as for centralization, Maoists want a more decentralized, autonomous republics, similar to what China had until the late 70s. Still don't understand that? Well, basically what the Royava Kurds had. Well, I'm guessing. I should really do more investigation on Royava. Now, as for the Tankies, by that I mean MLs, since what I'm about to describe is not anything I see a Maoist would do. Now note, these experiments come from my experience on Politigram, which is a shithole, mind you. It is the unnecessary fetishism of the old Soviet state and Eastern Bloc. I am guilty of this too for a very long time. Now MLs, some of you I call comrades and have some respect for, but your beliefs are what give us MLMs such a shitty name. Your obsession with centralization and what you call authoritarianism is nothing more than the rose-tinted lens of the Soviet Union. Authority is not what you think it is, and should not be the restrictive process of totality. Authority is what Engels stated as a process of organization to keep things in order to benefit the working class and the public. Lenin stated that we use the state only to purge out the reactionary elements, which again was later expanded by Mao, and of course this is the original Marxist-Leninist line. However, since MLs tend to be hooked up on Stalin and protecting his legacy along with the massive authoritative lines he took in order to keep the Union, to function, you drive others away. We, as Maoists, understand the necessity of the state, but heavily don't believe in this mass centralization. You forget that even the USSR had autonomous republics for ethnic people that wanted to govern themselves. In order to have this, you must have decentralized authority, to let the people govern themselves. You don't need this massive centralized system. Your take on authority is part of what drives people away from your ideology, amongst other things. Maoism is the next advanced stage of Marxism as synthesized by Chairman Gonzalo and other current Maoist parties. Marxism-Leninism in the 21st century is outdated, and to enact on it is not only revisionist but also reactionary. So, what are my thoughts on this overall? Authority is needed, of course. I don't like the state or the fact we have to transition, but this is how we need to make sure we are not only, we don't only have order, but to purge out reactionary forces. Without this, we risk going back to reactionary society that has not only alienated us, but also oppressed us. Authority is not intrinsically bad. It is needed to an extent. It's usually to what degree it is taken to. Anarchists don't mind the authority of the Catalonia back in the 30s, because there was not a state, despite the fact there were some authoritative measures, such as prison camps for the Falange sympathizers, and their own form of police. MLs don't mind authority of the Soviet Union despite the fact there has some decentralized tenets such as autonomous regions and even autonomous oblasts. The idea of libertarian socialism and authoritarian socialism is a false dichotomy, as both have aspects of authority and liberty. So I say this, anarchist, authority is needed, and so is the state when it comes to purging out and destroying old culture and old thought that oppresses us. Tankies, fucking stop fetishizing the past. Understand that centralization process is not something to be worshipped, but actively torn down to a more decentralized state based on autonomy of each people. That is my take. Thanks for watching, and for the next 3 vids I have planned out is a response to Finball and his take on Maoism, which is pretty fucking stupid, and what a nation is, which in that we will take a look about a national autonomy written by Stalin, but that might be last because I really need to do a video on trans people as well. I feel that is something important to talk about because trans issues is needed to be addressed. Well, I guess that's it. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, hit subscribe, you know the rest. Also critique me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll try to answer them. This is Mouse98, signing off.